Namaste. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jyoti Gurung. I'm the Development and Community Engagement Coordinator at Refugee and Immigrant Transitions. It is my pleasure to be your MC tonight. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us for our virtual event. I'm very honored to be part of the RIT community. When I first came to the US as a Bhutanese refugee from Nepal, I was a RIT student. And then I became an intern at RIT. And for the past 5 years, I've had the great joy of being a staff member at RIT. These past couple of years have underscored the global and local dimensions of our work at RIT, the importance of centering wellness in our work. We're witnessing forces of militarism, state violence, climate change, and more. All these continues to cause unprecedented levels of forced migration, driving people from their ancestral homes. We're also witnessing affected communities fight for freedom and democracy, not for just themselves, but for others as well. RIT works with communities from 50 different countries around the world. It gives us hope to see how people who have sought refuge support others who have faced similar challenges, whether they were from same countries or elsewhere. These shared struggles and shared hope help us imagine what a more peaceful world looks like. One of our deepest values at RIT is that we always seek to be informed by the communities we partner with, and we respond to their requests to do more. Tonight, we hope to give you a glimpse into the knowledge, wisdom, and beauty within RIT's diverse community. Together, we are co-creating a beloved community of people who have sought refuge, volunteers, supporters, partners, and tonight's sponsors. All of our sponsors are long-term supporters of refugee and immigrant communities. Sierra Circuits, Ramon Law, Morning Financial Advisors, and Nasiman. On behalf of staff members and board at Refugee and Immigrant Transitions, we thank you all. I'm honored now to introduce Samia Kurmi, who will provide a dedication to the people of Afghanistan, refugees and asylees all around the world. Samia is a dancer, teaching artist, and choreographer who immigrated to the US from Afghanistan at the age of 5. Samia will perform an interpretive dance she choreographed for this evening. Her performance includes 2 parts. The first is inspired by and accompanies a poem recently written by Kabuli female poet and educator Mehri Kabiri. The poem will be read in Farsi and speaks about freedom, homeland, life, hope of spring, and hope in the faces of oppression. The second part accompanies a beloved Afghan song from the 70s by Ahmed Jahir, who sings about love and separation.
ما سبز می شویم و دلی خاک می دریم، هر خار و خس ز گلشن خود پاک می بریم. آزادگی ما شرفی آشیان ماست، این خاک ما غرور زمین و زمان ماست. ما در وطن چو جان و تن ما جهان ماست. ما باز می رسیم و بهاران زندگی، گلهای تازه را بدلی باغ می دهد. آزادگی سرود بلندای زندگی، بر گوش سنگ و چوب زمین و زمان ما آواز می دهد. هدهد ز دیو و دد همه را قصه می کند، در سوگ عصر جهل کهن گریه می کند. پروانه ها و بلبل و هرچه پرستو است، تدلیل فصل تازه پرواز می شوند. باری دگر زمانه ما ساز می شود، آغاز می شویم از لایه های خاک زمینی که کیمیاست. گل سرزند ز عشق ما سبز تر شویم، بر گوش چرخه ستمی هر زمانه اش آواز می شویم. پرواز می کنیم و دگر بار بارها آغاز می شویم. ما در وطن چو جان و تن ما جهان ماست. این خاک ما غرور زمین و زمان ماست. آزادگی ما شرفی حاشیان ماست. ما باز می رسیم و بهاران زندگی گلهای تازه را بدلی باغ می دهد. تجلیل فصل تازه پرواز می شویم.
خدا بوت یارت قرآن نگهدارت سخی مددگارت سخی مددگارت خدا بوت یارت قرآن نگهدارت سخی مددگارت سخی مددگارت
Thank you, Samia, so much for the beautiful dedication to the people of Afghanistan, refugees, and asylees all around the world. Now, I would like to take you all to the next segment, Reports Around the World. In this segment, I welcome my colleagues and peers at RIT to share how they are working in the community, highlighting the interconnectedness between the global and local dimensions of RIT's work. First, we will hear from Lina and Masuma, who are growing wellness programs at RIT for newly arriving Afghan families as they transition into the Bay Area. Next, we will hear from Maria, who partners with Indigenous Mom community members from Guatemala, using her gift of language to build bridges for families to this new land. And finally, we'll hear from Kokole, RIT board member, who is on the front line of a global multi-ethnic, multi-generational solidarity movement fighting for freedom in Burma and prevention of future forced migration. Now, let's welcome Lina and Masuma. Hi, Lina and Masuma. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hi. Thank you for joining. So you do a lot of work in the community, and I'm very excited to share all the work that you do through your speeches tonight with the viewers. So first question that I have for you is, when Kabul fell to the Taliban on August 15th, you know, our RIT community, specifically Afghan community, it was a challenging time for a lot of our community members. Can you share a little bit of a reflection of that time with us?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jyoti. Yeah, it was the general sense was there was a lot of worry and shock and stress in the community, understandably, and especially worry about family members, close family members that are still in Afghanistan and are trying to get out. So we just tried to learn as much as we could about the immigration situation and try to share legal services with community members that reached out to us. But unfortunately, no, it's not a very good situation and not a lot of good options because the US embassy was closed. but we just tried to share as much as we could. And then we also had a few meetings with the RIT staff, Afghan and non-Afghan staff members, to just check in and see how everyone was doing. And then we also had a welcoming drive where we were collecting materials that we could share with newly arriving Afghans.
Thank you for sharing that. And specifically in the area of wellness, you do a lot in the community. My next question was, what does wellness mean to you, and how do you create space for wellness in the community?
Thank you, Jyoti. For me, wellness means when I'm feeling physically very good, or when I'm feeling mentally or emotionally well, I can say I'm good. And as a wellness team at RIT, we have different services for families, such as workshops. We had a workshop about stress management and a technique or good techniques for reduce stress for especially Afghan families during this hard time. Also, we have a support group for Afghan women. They come together and make a group. They have meetings and they talk together, they share their experience, and they meet new Afghan women. And this has helped them to reduce their stress, also reduce their social isolation. And that is something they like it.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to create more opportunities for community and gathering and connection as part of wellness, and also programs that educate and empower. So we are starting a workshop where women can come and get their food certification, food handler certification, in collaboration with Oakland Bloom, in case they want to work or volunteer in the food service industry and gain experience. Or also if they would like to cook for RIT, cook Afghan food, and then we can offer that to the newly arriving Afghans. Another program we're starting is a class for Afghan women where they can study with a volunteer instructor in their native language for their driving permit exam, because many women want to get their driver's license, understandably, and we want to help them with that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And looks like a lot of projects are happening and it's going to happen. So thank you, both of you, for holding this space for all these things to happen. And my final question for you both is, many people are tuned in tonight. So what would you like the viewers to know and do to start welcoming Afghan families who are arriving in the Bay Area?
I want to just say to all the new Afghan families coming to the US and to the Bay Area, welcome. And we are at RIT, wants to help them and support them as much as we could. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, definitely. And also for people that want to help, supporting and referring to local organizations like RIT is a really great way to help the newly arriving Afghans. And just to keep an open mind when you're meeting new Afghans, they've been through a long and difficult journey to get here, and understanding that the Afghan community is very diverse and there's different languages and some different cultural norms from family to family. So just keeping a really open mind. And just remembering, that even though there's been a crisis, there's been a huge outpouring of support and generosity from the RIT community and the greater community. So that's really been inspiring.
Thank you both so much. And I also want to echo the message of welcome to all the newly arriving Afghan families, and also gratitude to everyone supporting, reaching out and supporting our community. So thank you. And thank you both so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I would like to welcome our next guest, Maria. Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hi, Hyori. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. I'm very excited to share with our audience what you do and the community that you work with. So thank you so much for joining and sharing about you. So you work with our mom community. Many people might not know who they are. So can you tell us about the mom community, their culture, their history, and their people?
Sure. Thank you. Mom community is a group of Mayan indigenous people from Guatemala, which the language is Mam. The native language is Mam. We speak Mam, and Guatemala is a beautiful country and rich of their culture, custom, foods, and so many more.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And in the Bay Area, specifically in the East Bay, you have a big role as a community navigator. So can you tell us what do you do as a community navigator?
As a community navigator at Oakland Unified School District, I have been working with them for 5 years, I think. And I'm working supporting students since preschool program to high school. Helping them in school sites, sometimes academically, to be with the teacher and the kids, and I'm working with parents also. And also I help parents to get them to legal resources, and also an accompanying minor. There's a lawyer from Oakland Unified School District who's supporting them for their legal case, and I'm helping them also with interpretation, and also help parents to apply for medical or fill out the form, and navigate the school system.
Yeah, you do a lot of bridging gaps, and thank you for all that work that you do. You connect to parents and students in school and different systems. I help access the information. So your work is really powerful and important. So thank you. And my final question for you is, what brings you joy? Simply, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy this, I'm really happy. I want to say that I'm really happy to do my job and supporting my families. I feel that my family, because when I came to United States, I have faced this situation when I came. I didn't know where to go or where to talk with, or to ask for a job or help, and I didn't know any word of English. So this situation reminds me how they feel, and more because they come with kids or the youth. They feel confident to get the information from me on their own language, and I can see on their face that they feel happy and confident to get, because they have been telling me that, oh, Maria, thank you, because you are here and explain that. Sometimes I want to ask help or explain what's happened with my kids, but I can't because the language. So that makes me happy doing my job.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. Your work is again very important, and thank you for connecting different students and parents and schools with different resources. Thank you so much, Maria, for joining us tonight and sharing about you, your work, and the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I would like to welcome our next guest, Coco. Hi, Coco. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're very honored that you're here present with us to share about all the work that is happening in the Burmese community. As you are a leader in the Burmese community, and there is a movement happening in the Burmese community, especially after the military coup. Can you share what has been happening in Burma since the military coup that happened in February 1st, and how are you and your fellow activists working together to fight for the freedom in Burma today?
Thank you so much, Jody. Since military coup in Burma, February 1st, people of Burma being fought for their rights and against the military coup in Burma. Military council arrests many authorities, including elected President U Win Myint and State Councilor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Also, I learned that almost 1,200 were killed and 70,000 were arrested so far. Since February 1st, Generation Z and 88 generation, we organized a series of weekly protests in San Francisco Bay Area. We laid down 3 major important work: direct action, diplomatic campaign, and fundraising. Moreover, we tried to create several networking, not only the US, Jody, but also worldwide. We make Safe Myanmar USA and global networking platform. For example, we San Francisco activists did cross-country drive to Washington, D.C., participate in Safe Myanmar March in August 7, 2021, including you and Jane too. In addition, we both are closely working with CRPH and UG Coordination Committee member and working with them.
Thank you and your community for this multi-generational, multi-ethnic group movement. It is truly an inspiration for all of us. Now, my second question is, how are these all efforts connected to forced migration, and how might they prevent future forced migration, and why is it important?
Well, Jody, I had an experience that after military coup in 1988, thousands of refugees fled in neighboring country in Thailand and end up their life in refugee camp. And some refugees were forced to relocate in that country, including the United States. I'm one of those and currently living in San Francisco. That is why Generation Z and Generation 88 generation are working hard for our people of Burma not only repeat the same pattern again in 2021. We are not working hard in international Burmese community only, but also asking a loudly international community to get involved and help. 2021 military coup in Burma, including the United Nations, because Burma is not only a regional issue, Jody, but also it is a global issue.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. It is a global issue, and a lot of within the community are supporting each other, marching together for this solidarity movement. So that's very inspiring. And my final question for you today, Coco, is so we have many viewers tonight, and how might they be able to help you with your movement, and what actions can they take to support you?
Jody, no one want to leave their hometown, home country, but military coup forced to relocate it unfamiliar places. We definitely need to prevent not happening again like in 1988 military coup. We all want to live peacefully with our family in our hometown. Of course, I had a bad experience in 1988 separating with my family, and I do know what next generation face the same experience like me. That is why we are asking ASEAN and the UN to help our Burma, including the United States. Currently we are calling blood money campaign and Burma bill campaign. What that means is stop paying money from Chevron and Total money to military council who are killing every day in Burma. People who live in the US, we need help from all of you to pass urgently Burma Act 2021, which is currently on Congress floor, and we are working together with the multi-generation, Generation XYZ, Military Alliance, and multi-ethnics because of this, Jody.
Yeah, you're right. And thank you for sharing all the work that is happening in the Burmese community, and everyone who are tuned in tonight, please go support them, their movement. It's a solidarity effort in the freedom and human rights. Thank you, Coco, so much for joining us tonight and sharing all that is happening in the community. I'm so honored to have you here. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lina, Massima, Maria, and Coco for sharing with us this evening. My colleagues have shared about their work here and the connections to the homelands. At this moment, we want to honor all the homelands that RIT community members have been forced to flee. For this moment of reflection and connection to our homelands and to one another, I would like to welcome Do Hee Lee. Do Hee Lee is a Guggenheim Fellow, ritualist, artist, and educator. It is an honor to have you here.
안녕하세요. 이도희입니다. Hi, I am Do-hee Lee. Thank you so much for inviting me to share this song with everyone here. I am originally from South Korea. My father's side of the ancestor is from Kaesong, North Korea, and my mother's side is from Jeju, South Korea. And I was born in Jeju Island and immigrated here in 2002. Huchin, unceded Ohlone territory, which we called Auckland. I am so honored to share this song as a prayer for remembering my homeland and honor my ancestor, and also hope for my country to be united. And also this story will resonate with the others. And I love to invite all of us to remember our ancestors, our homeland, and our hometown. close your eyes and let's humming together to think of our memory and story of our homeland, and think of our honor of our ancestors, culture, the language that we carry within us. My song, my story is connect with yours. And when we connect with each other, we connect in globally. And when we connect, when we build the strength of solidarity, we know that we can be part of to create a better world. Thank you, and let's humming with me. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much to our amazing performers and speakers, and thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Malak, and I'm honored to serve as RIT's board chair. Tonight's event is deeply meaningful to many of us in the community. For me, it's meaningful because it highlights and honors our deep connections to one another and to our homelands. As I reflect on this evening, I feel many different emotions. I feel a deep pain as I see history repeat itself in my home country of Afghanistan, where as a 6-year-old, I was forced to flee with my family. We resettled in the Bay Area and did not have a support organization such as RIT, and I know very intimately the difference that it makes. I also feel hopeful as I see my community mobilize and advocate for loved ones, and as you saw in the video tonight, as we prepare to welcome newcomers who are also seeking refuge. British poet and activist Warsan Shire, born to Somali parents in Kenya, begins her poem titled Home as follows. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. The situations our brothers and sisters are fleeing from are crushing. They're horrendous. It's horrific. And for those of us who have experienced and have memories of fleeing our own country, this time brings back very traumatic moments. To that, I'm grateful for RIT for serving as a refuge for all of us, allowing us to be in community with one another as we welcome new neighbors who are now fleeing their homes. Thank you to you, our wonderful supporters. Our doors are able to remain open to all. I'm grateful for the strong systems, programs, and partnerships that RIT has developed over the years. We are incredibly proud of the diverse, multilingual, and multicultural staff and volunteers at RIT, many of whom have experienced migration themselves. Together, we're expanding capacities to meet this moment of unprecedented scale and displacement, and we need your support to mobilize additional resources. Tonight, we've set an ambitious goal to raise $90,000 to resource these expanding efforts. We hope you can help us meet this goal. If you're able, please join me in pledging of support tonight. The pledge form is located right below the video at reftrans.org/fundraiser, and your pledge will be counted towards tonight's goal of $90,000. After that, you can make your donation final by entering your credit card information in the form or sending a check. RIT's community-centric model grounds us in the principle that we all benefit when we engage in social justice efforts. If you're not in the position to donate tonight, we invite you to join us in other ways so we can together welcome newcomers seeking refuge. The last few months have been very difficult for many of us. However, it's also been very inspiring and empowering to see communities coming together. So as we close this evening, we want to end on a positive note to celebrate the beauty of what we can achieve when we come together in community. It is now my honor to introduce Dr. Jean-Pierre Dagijimana, who has spent his career working in fields of trauma and community healing with post-genocide and refugee communities. Jean-Pierre and traditional musicians in Kishagi Taromo and Inzora dance groups will now share how Rwandan community members are turning drumming traditions into a healing experience. Please join us on this collective journey, and thank you all again for joining us this evening.
Murakaza neza.
Soyez les bienvenus.
Bienvenue.
Karibun.
Karibuni sana.
Welcome.